Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be continuing to talk about the upcoming cold and wintry spell of weather, including the potential for kind of snow and possibly quite a lot of snow in some areas. So we'll start off by looking at this quick graphic that I made and put on my Twitter, and that's kind of the snow risk, a quick look kind of from the 7th to the 14th of December. And so you can see basically all of the UK and Ireland is at risk of snow, kind of through starting on Tuesday and lasting until around kind of the 13th or 14th of December at least. And so that kind of is going to be snow risk from occasional showers, especially kind of along coasts, especially northern and northeastern coasts, and then kind of small areas of low pressure, like kind of troughs and that kind of thing, which have precipitation, and they kind of can be quite unexpected, sometimes only appearing in the forecast 1 to 3 days in advance. That's another thing to look out for. We've actually got one of those forecasted on Thursday at the moment, so that's another way of kind of potential for snow across just the general UK and Ireland, and then particularly across northern Scotland there's quite a heightened risk of snow, sort of, from frequent snow showers. Could kind of bring 10-20 centimeters in places, and I think we have a Metal Fist yellow warning in force for that. We'll start off by looking at the GFS model as usual. You can see we're really getting to that northerly pattern now. The agreement's completely there. It's basically a day away now that we have high pressure over kind of the North Atlantic. I'll just show here. So high pressure over the North Atlantic into Greenland, and then we get that cold northerly air. You can see all these pink colours indicating where the model is forecasting snow to be. So if I show you the temperature, this is the 850 HPA temperature, and that is kind of, in other words, basically the temperature at 1.5 kilometers, roughly 1.5 kilometers above the ground, and it's kind of a good indication of the air mass. And generally for snow we're looking for temperatures to be below -5, so these kind of dark blue colours. And you can see by Tuesday we have this cold northerly winds flowing along kind of clockwise along the isobars around high pressure, so that's like this. We have got the cold wind coming in from the north, and then you can see multiple kind of a cold front likely here pushing in across the UK by Thursday, bringing much cold air to all of the UK, and then we're kind of left with a slack low to the east, and then a associated northerly flow. But it's kind of a slack northerly, nothing particularly extreme. But what that means, which I'll get into later, is the temperatures can get really low overnight. So then continuing through the model run, you can see basically have the same thing. This is on Sunday by now. We have a low with continued showers, small areas of low pressure which bring continued areas of snow, localized snow across the UK. Probably a focus for kind of more northern areas, but all of the UK and Ireland is really at risk, as you can see. And we have that continued risk of snow until, on this model run, what happens is that one of these lows slides up kind of from the Atlantic, bringing snow on its northern edge. That's that purple stuff there, as it bumps into the colder air. You can see just marginally cold enough for snow, and you can see that it happens again later in the model run like that. But basically what we first need to talk about before we start getting excited about the potential for snow across the Midlands is that anything kind of beyond about Sunday, Monday, we have really low confidence on at the minute, because this low pressure system here is causing a lot of kind of trouble, whether it's going to move north, bringing mild air across all of the UK, whether it's going to kind of move in the middle, bringing snow for some and then keeping the cold air across the northern UK like this, or whether it's going to go completely to the south and keep all of the UK on like completely cold air, or something in between. So to get a better idea, we'll kind of look at some of the other model output. I'll just quickly run through here. This is the European model. You can see same thing. We have that cold northerly coming in by Wednesday, frequent snow showers across northern Scotland, and then a potential for other areas of snow as well. These kind of small kind of areas of kind of enhanced snowfall like this, potentially bringing in kind of the extra risks of snow, like that kind of thing, those small features. And then notice on this run, what the GFS I just showed you, compare it to this, where we have the low, instead of moving into the UK, it's blocked by this high pressure. So the low tries to move into the high pressure, but it gets blocked. So what happens is it just kind of fizzles out to the kind of southwest of the UK, and we remain with this cold airflow, snow showers across the eastern areas, and possibly a heightened snow risk as well. And you can see the temperature there is still conducive for snow. So the ECM run, or European run, stays conducive for snow kind of the whole run, and then the GFS conducive until about the 12th, 13th before it gets swept away. If we look at the Canadian model run, what happens here is we get a same thing up to kind of like I was saying, up to about Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We have good confidence on this point, and then this kind of similar to the ECM but slightly different. We get high pressure kind of blocking these lows, and then they kind of just fizzle out and die, and we remain with proper high pressure bringing a lot of a kind of cold air. Look at all those areas of kind of pink purple where there's snow, and you can see properly cold air by the end of the run. And then notice that area of low pressure as well. That would be a localized snow producer like that. So that's kind of what we're talking about when we say those are localized kind of snow makers. So that's a general pattern. We'll get more about the kind of the longer range a bit later. But if we first look at kind of the nearby snow threat, kind of is there any snow threat in the next few days? And so yes, there is actually. So by Wednesday we have that cold front kind of moving through, bringing in cold air behind it. As you can see, there we go, that's our front. And you can see that cold air, -9, -8 across northern Scotland is going to create instability as that cold air moves over the kind of warmer and milder sea. And it's going to pick up moisture, it's going to form showers, and the result is we have a lot of snow showers across Scotland like that, potentially bringing some accumulation. If I show you the what's it called, the UK's, sorry, the Met Office's high resolution model, you can see same thing here. There we have snow showers kind of piling in by Wednesday, and then kind of lasting through the whole period, potentially getting quite intense, and frequent, with possibly some snow accumulation there. Quite a lot actually, possibly 10 centimeters in places as a result of those frequent showers. So that's the first snow risk, which I highlighted here. And then the second snow risk, this is kind of more interesting if you're further south, is we have this small, really subtle area of low pressure. The ones I was kind of talking about earlier, we want those small areas of low pressure, which kind of create lift, and that lift in the atmosphere generates kind of precipitation. And what happens when that precipitation falls in this cold air is that we get snowfall. So there is now some kind of agreement that through Thursday, we're going to get this low coming down, and it's going to potentially bring a kind of localized, or not so localized, but a swath of kind of snow accumulation, especially through kind of the Midlands, Scotland, and northwestern England like this. That's what the icon model was showing. Potentially we could be seeing 4 to 8 centimeters of snow. If you look at the other high resolution model, this is the French one, you can see this feature. We have the same feature here, there it is coming down. However, this time it's a lot weaker, and it doesn't produce nearly as much snow, just kind of more showery stuff. Like you can see, we have more kind of just a dusting. And then the GFS, I mean, we try and avoid using the GFS for kind of this kind of smaller scale snow features, but you can see same thing kind of to the icon, bringing a few centimeters in places. If we look at the Canadian, similar thing, and then the European, let's see, doesn't actually have it at all. If we look at the UKV, you can see that this one does actually have it, bringing kind of a dusting, or maybe a bit more than dusting actually, maybe some slight accumulation through the Midlands and kind of parts of Wales, northwestern England, Scotland, potentially reaching as far south as London. And that's kind of the area, the corridor, but because he's kind of seeing a few centimeters of snow. Also notice by kind of Saturday, or no, sorry, by kind of Wednesday, Thursday, how that snow continues to accumulate across kind of northern Scotland. One thing to note about these kind of small areas of low pressure, we'll use the icon to kind of show this, is that they're really small, and when things are small, they're much harder to forecast by the models. So as you can tell, there's kind of not great agreement. It's kind of chopping and changing as we go through the different runs and different models. So while this is showing a heightened potential for snow across kind of the Midlands, and while I do think we're going to get one of these lows on Thursday somewhere, it's really hard to say exactly it's going to be across the Midlands, though that's probably the highest chance at the moment. So potentially looking at a kind of covering of snow in kind of central and western areas, potentially as far south as kind of London. So that's kind of the short-term snow outlook. Beyond that, we could be looking at more of those kind of small areas. There's another one there, but I mean, it's kind of beyond kind of day kind of 3. Those small areas are really hard to forecast. If we look at kind of ensembles to get kind of a better idea, ensembles, they're kind of, this is kind of just one run. Ensembles are like 30, so they give us a lot more confidence. What you can see is we have, this is on by the 9th of December, we have strong confidence on high pressure across Greenland, and then we have that low pressure bringing that cold northerly, and then Uncertainty starts to decrease a little bit. Certainty starts to decrease a little bit by the 13th of December. Possibly some hints of kind of ridging into kind of Iceland, which could be kind of trying to block off these lows coming in and wiping away the mild air. So I have a slight tendency to kind of agree with maybe the European and the Canadian solutions of not sweeping in that mild air across the UK. And then you can see if we go into the kind of the more middle of December, potentially a signal for turning more unsettled again. We have that low pressure moving in from the Atlantic, potentially turning more unsettled, though it's worth noting we still do have continued Greenland kind of blocking, so potentially cold air there as well. If we look at the ensemble models, this is kind of the ensemble displayed as an average chart. This is kind of more of a graph. If I show you the temperature at 1.5 kilometers, you can see the lines are close together. That means high confidence, really high confidence through the period of below kind of -5 degrees, which is snow conducive air. This is in London, by the way, up until the kind of 13th or 14th of December, and then after that you can see the spread starts to increase a little bit, and potentially you can use the white line as kind of an indicator. That's the kind of the average. You can see potentially turning a bit more mild by the 16th, 17th of December. So maybe the timing is a little bit off if you're hoping for a white Christmas. But that's kind of way too early to tell, just some early hints. But you can see, so potentially we'll see what happens with the European 12 o'clock run. I'll post that on my YouTube kind of status thing. And then if you take a look at snow, you can see these kind of spikes showing there is a potential for snow kind of all the way through the period, and then these kind of higher spikes showing potentially maybe some of those kind of more frontal snow events where we were kind of on the GFS, where we're kind of getting those low pressure systems bumping into the cold air with snow on the northern edge. So I think this has the potential to deliver a lot of snow, this kind of thing, but that's in kind of a week, 2 weeks time. So it's going to be just kind of continued model watching until we get closer and have better confidence. But definitely looking snowy across much of the UK, kind of referring back to this graphic. If we look for snow kind of potential further north, you can see a much more heightened signal kind of in more northern areas, closer to those kind of snow showers and areas of low pressure. But you can see all the way kind of from the 7th till the 19th of December, heightened snow risk across all of the UK. If we look at the UK Met Offices, these are kind of the postage stamps. You can see if I just click a random time, you can see this is really illustrating that there's a lot of different scenarios, but all of them are cold and snowy looking. So you can see, while we may not know where the snow is going to be, what we can say with quite good confidence is it will be snowy. So probably focus across more northern areas of snow, really high confidence across northern Scotland. But you can see still have snow risks further south as well. So really everyone is kind of in play for kind of some cold weather, some snow, potentially some hints at some frontal snow events there as well. So if you are a cold weather fan, looking like an exciting time of weather, because like I keep on repeating, we do have the high chance across northern Scotland, but any of these small kind of low pressure systems, like for example this, could pop up a day before and bring a surprise like 5 centimeters. So by kind of tomorrow or Wednesday we'll have more details on what's going to happen with regards to this, and then potentially further on in the week we're going to get some more snow chances, and then hopefully by the weekend we'll have a better idea of how just how long the cold's going to last, whether it lasts kind of until the kind of 14th, 15th, or potentially into the rest of December as well. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice evening. Bye.